We are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to that comic book review show. So tonight we're going to be doing Thanos Wins by Donny Cates, and he's the man responsible for this week's pick. It's Triple G Comics.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, Pete. How are you doing, mate?
Not bad at all, but not bad. Two Northerners, we should really greet ourselves with our reet, shouldn't we?
All right, mate.
Our reet, mate. Aye.
I am, mate. We aye.
I'm
Away the
excited for
lads.
this, GP. This is going to be a good one, I think. This is a good story. I like this one.
Right. We'll soon see.
Yeah.
I guess we better say Hail Hydra because he's Luke.
I eat meats.
Oh my
Yeah,
lord.
just doesn't have the same ring, does it?
No.
I'm
You
never
said
doing
meat,
that again.
didn't you? Did you say
meat?
I would like to apologise to everyone. Sorry, I will behave.
All the North forgives you. And he's Mr. 1K himself, Efren from Past Point Comics. How are you doing, Efren?
I'm doing fine. What is going on, Compo Familia? I sent my son a message before this video a couple days ago. You sure you want me to be on it? And I will explain why, when we talk about this.
Yeah, good to have me dad on here. We'll just have a quick look at the chat, see who's in. We've got all StreamYard popping in here. He's popped up. There he's popped up. Rob G. It's 20 past 7 in the morning he left high. Bit early. Yeah.
Where's he at?
God knows. We've got a good old Fuzzy Dunlop. We have a winner. Chicken dinner. And Jack. How are you doing, Jack? Hope you're well, mate. So, Pete, Thanos Wins. This was your pick. How are you about?
Technically mine and Luke's, wasn't it? Because I think did Luke wanted
It technically was. It was, yeah, because you stole it.
Yeah.
That was my fault. I should have went to Luke first.
Yeah.
Never mind. How are you about to read us into this one, mate?
Yeah, sure. So this is Thanos Wins. It's a tremendous series. You can get it in lots of different formats. And the trade paperback's out, but it originally appeared in the Thanos comic issues 13 to 18, and there's a follow-up story in Thanos Annual. I'll just read from the back what it says. How will the Marvel Universe die, and who shall be its executioner? There's only one real answer: Thanos. At the end of all creation, the Mad Titan sits upon his throne, a billion blighted worlds at his feet. But his great life's work is still not finished. There is one being who still eludes him, a last foe to defeat before he can finally win the hand of Lady Death. To achieve this ultimate victory, he sends forth his herald across the depths of time and space to summon the one being who can help him, none other than his own younger self. There you go.
Sounds interesting when you read it from the back.
What do you mean, sounds it? It's oh, I think we're going to have a fight tonight, aren't we? Is it going to kick off?
Just a quick hello to Ben, the attention-seeking geek. If you haven't already, go over to Ben's channel. He did a marvellous review of Mortal Kombat last night. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. So, Thanos Wins. This was volume 3, I believe, in the 2016 Thanos run. I think it was Jeff Lemire who did the previous volumes.
Right.
And obviously picked up by Donny Cates. The art's by Jeff Shaw. This ran from November 2017 to April 2018. So, I didn't know what to expect with this one. It's pretty much a standalone story, so you can just pick it up whenever. It's not actually canon because it takes place on Earth TRN 666. Yeah, it's a multiverse story, really.
Yeah,
it takes you all the way through from Thanos decimating just about everything in the universe, which is absolutely brilliant. It did have its good points, I will say that. Efren, what was your thoughts?
I had never read this book before. I've heard some Peter specifically, especially talk about it. I was a little bit disappointed. I just didn't. I can explain more if you want me to, or I can talk about it later on. Whatever you want, Chief.
I think we've heard enough from it.
No, you carry on. Luke, initial thoughts, mate.
I love this story, and I'm proud of it. Yes, it's I can see where some Thanos fans might might see a bit of a shift in how that story plays out, and they might not like it for some of those reasons. But overall, it's a fantastic story. It's one of my favorite modern pieces of writing in Marvel. Yeah, and I'll go into more details soon.
Did we read the same book or?
Oh, it's starting already. So, Pete, before you actually did pick up this book, what was your initial thoughts, mate?
I think this is a book that needs a certain level of reader intellect to understand it and to enjoy. No, I'm just joking. I just enjoy it. I think I'm a big fan of self-contained stories. I think because I'm getting old, I cannot be chewed with reading like an ongoing monthly or something that's got 20 years of back history. So I've not read any of the Thanos series before this or after it, to be honest. I've read a few miniseries a few years ago, and I treat this very much as Luke kind of described as a kind of almost a what-if standalone book. And as such, I really enjoy it. I like some of the characters that come into it. I love the artwork. And I like the overarching themes of it as well. I think it's got some key moments for me that are literally kind of one panel or two panel that really left us thinking, oh God, I want to know more. I want to see what happened there. I want to know what the rest of the story was, you know? So yeah, I enjoyed it. And it gave her Cosmic Ghost Rider, who I think is a fantastic character. Really like.
We'll touch on that in a minute. Just quick hello to Vogs18 from over on the Spinetix chat. How are you doing, Vogs, mate? Brilliant card collector, loves his baseball and all that good stuff. And we've also got Brian LCS. How are you doing, Brian? I do believe the CBS Awards nominations are now open. So if you go over to Brian's, he'll point in the right direction. So you're mentioning Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, the cast of characters in this book is very little. It's not a big entourage of characters.
Yeah.
You can probably count them all dead, pretty much. So we'll just go straight on to Ghost Rider. And yeah, I've got some thoughts about this. I'm trying to...
Come on then, let's hear your thoughts and I'll tell you why.
Spoilers going forward, obviously. Cosmic Ghost Rider is Frank Castle. Now, I think there's pretty much one issue that's all Frank's backstory. Yeah. How he's the last... Well, he's not the last to die, was he?
Yeah, he's the last person left on Earth, isn't he? So he's at the end of the battle, and then he makes the deal with Mephisto, but everybody else is gone, kind of thing.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've read it, but isn't it the Hulk knocks like a building down and something hits Frank, and that's what kills him?
Yeah. He gets smacked in the head, doesn't he?
Off he goes over to hell, as he would. You know, rightly so. He's killed a lot of people. And there, of course, is Mephisto willing to offer him a deal.
Yeah, big shout out to Dave Clex, by the way, one of the Spinetix buddies. Thanks for being here, mate. Fuzzy saying I thought I'd found a bargain copy of Cosmic Ghost Rider #1 first appearance, but it was just full print. Yeah,
there's loads and it's got reprints and
it's got some
covers.
I bet this is one of them. Yeah, I was going to say I bet this is one of them books that had just a billion variant covers for it.
But if you're wanting a true first appearance of it, you can, for whatever bizarre reason, you can still get the lenticular cover one very cheap. So the standard cover is pretty pricey book these days. But they also, remember when Marvel were doing all those lenticular covers? They produced a lenticular one at the same time, and you can get that one for quite cheap. Nobody seems to want it for whatever reason, but it is technically the first print, first appearance. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. So Frank gets his Spirit of Vengeance, and just at a panel where Frank's on his bike with the guns on the front.
Yeah.
That's the Ghost Rider, Punisher Ghost Rider I wanted to see.
Right. Yeah.
But obviously, Frank being alone for so long, he went a bit nuts. And you get this kind of Deadpool persona of Frank.
Yes. So this is... Yeah, very much so. So that's kind of the beauty and the downside at the same time, because I can see why some people might point at that and go, that's lazy, because all you've done is taken multiple beloved characters and squished them together into one. Obviously, you've got Frank Castle as the Punisher, you've got the Ghost Rider, along with the cosmic powers of the Silver Surfer, and then you've also given him Deadpool's personality. So that's 4 different character traits that people and fans worldwide love. and you've just crushed it all into one character, which obviously everyone's going to love that.
Yeah, I think
and
it's that
I
mishmash
do
of
love
characters.
I do love it though. That's the thing. I think, and without getting ahead of ourselves, there is a continuation after this of that Cosmic Ghost Rider story, and that's fantastic too.
And you've got to remember as well, I guess, because I hear what you're saying, Pete, that it's not Frank Castle that we know. But before he meets Galactus, before he gets the power cosmic, he's roaming the Earth by himself for centuries, just by himself. He goes mental. Do you know what I mean? As most people would, I guess. And the way they express it is, you're right, a very kind of a Deadpool kind of humor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of him just being batshit crazy. That he's gone all these years.
He was already batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what though, as well? Like, the irony is with Frank Castle is that he does go to hell because he'll never be reunited with his family. You know, no matter what he does, like he's now murdered people as revenge, and he's never going to see them again, not even in the afterlife. Even if he wanted to go as far as saying that he would go to Valhalla for dying in battle, well, his family's not going to be there either.
Just a couple of more people turning into the chat there. Dave saying he's got a 9.8 trading card of Thanos. Do a short, mate. Need to say that. Phil's Treehouse has joined us. How you, Phil? My pal, Real Rude 6. How we doing, Rude? And aggressively relaxing. The writer said he was hearing Bill Burr's voice when writing this Frank. I would argue he was always had a dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
Bill Burr, good choice. Yeah. What did you think of Cosmic Ghost Rider, Efren?
I liked the character. I liked it because he was like he wasn't the Frank Castle Punisher that we know, who just has one agenda. I know Luke says, they put I didn't think about it. They put 4 characters into one, and I liked his humor. He didn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
Like in the Punisher. So I thought that was a refreshing take on, the Punisher, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and whatever else powers he had. I enjoyed the character a lot.
Yeah. So Cosmic Ghost Rider goes after Thanos, who's just conquered the Centauri. He's out in the universe, he's conquering everybody. Uses a shard of the Time Stone and flings him straight into the future, where he meets himself, Old King Thanos, sat in his throne, and you get this great back and forth between them, because Thanos doesn't believe it, and he's like, I am you, boy. And he's like, don't call me boy. But they had a really good on-off bit with the two Thanoses. What did you think of that?
I loved it, but you're missing out some of the perfect points. So the original battle on that planet, I think the writing is beautiful when they're talking about, the fact that when these creatures are killed, the blood freezes.
Oh, yes.
The kids pick it up
and eat it as smoke.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Thanos' throne, which is the first kind of holy shit moment, he's actually sat inside Galactus's mouth because he's taking Galactus's head off. And it's the little things like that, as a long-time Marvel reader, that I just love. I love seeing the little kind of, but yeah, you're absolutely right, JP. The back and forth between them, I think is very cool, and I like the kind of the narrative that they're starting to spin already. So yeah, I enjoyed that bit. It sets it up nicely, I think.
Now, one thing I will point out is that Marvel has a habit of killing Galactus just to prove that another character is the strongest and scariest thing out there.
Yeah.
I don't think Galactus has been the universal threat that he started out as for a really long time now. Even Donny Cates himself, even after this, he goes back and has Thor fight Galactus for the same reasons in his Thor story. But obviously that's another side to it all. So yeah, as much as I love seeing it and seeing the Galactus head as a throne, it is something that's getting overused now. Like when I first read this, it was nude. It was great. But I do feel as time's going on, it's getting a bit repetition-wise. Like we're getting too much of it.
Yeah. It's a good point you make there about Galactus not being what he used to be. Obviously, Efren, you being a long-time reader, so when Galactus first burst onto the scenes, he was this unstoppable thing, and now he's just this MacGuffin that everybody can take down.
Yeah. I when Galactus first came out in Fantastic Four 48 or 49, I forgot which one. He was just all powerful. I don't think there was a more powerful being in all of Marvel Universe. But besides this run and other comic books too, he's not doesn't seem as strong as he used to be. He's almost like he's not a non-threat, but he's not as threatening as he used to be.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who made that turn on him to decide for him to go that route. But I liked him more when he was like, "This is it, we're done."
Yeah.
I think we will get that Galactus back as soon as Disney know what they want to do with him for the movies. They'll retcon everything. They'll do a story to get people ready for what's to come. So everything returns to its status quo, and Galactus will be a threat again in the comics right around the time they're about to put him into the MCU.
To be fair, the MCU will probably get his daughter first. Yeah. But going back to the comic, when Galactus first turns up, he's pretty much begging for somebody to help him. And he's looking for Reed Richards.
Yeah.
I found absolutely ridiculous.
No concept of time, though, is it?
No.
Reed Richards has been gone for a really long time.
He bumps into Frank, who tells him everybody's gone, and he's the last one left. And so he gives Frank the power Cosmic, and we get Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, that's a comic I want to see, Galactus and Cosmic Ghost Rider running around the universe, because them few panels at the show look like it could be a really lot of fun. Yeah.
I love that image of Galactus running with the gun and Frank kind of driving beside him. I don't know why. It just does it for us. It looks cool,
Galactus just decides that Frank's onto something with these guns.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. What about you, Efren? Was that a good take on Galactus?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just the whole storyline with Galactus in it. He was just like weak, which I just didn't like that, at all, And we're going to talk about how he dies. I'm like, dang, that's it, I never realized, but on a little side note, that I never thought about Thanos is the most powerful being in all of Marvel Universe. Then, I mean, if you can take on anybody without even like getting a scratch, I mean, this will never happen. But I would love to see Superman fight Thanos. Who would win?
I think we also have to remember as well when this came out. So this came out right before or right after Infinity War. So obviously they wanted to big up Thanos quite a lot. Not a lot had been done with him prior to this. And with a story of Thanos Wins, which is literally how Infinity War ends, they wanted to show that sort of how serious this guy could be. So I think the timing of this book was very important too.
Yeah. Jack's just saying, I like Galactus in the new 4 run. Haven't read it yet, mate, where he uses him as a herald. He's a lot weaker, but I think it gives him a bit more character. Fuzzy saying, old age affects supervillains too. Aggressively relaxing. They do chat. Some books have given Galactus some really interesting character growth that they will ignore because they won't want to use the classic understanding of what he is for visual shorthand, which is very true.
Do you guys think Galactus is a villain? Because what he does to survive is he's eating to survive. So in that point of view, I don't think he's that stereotypical villain,
Yeah.
He's around to serve balance, isn't he? Like he's keeping the other things at bay. If Galactus dies, something else gets set loose. I can't remember exactly what
it's like a yin and yang kind of setup, isn't it? So they've done a lot of development with Galactus over the years, and I think it's slightly harsh to say he's depowered and whatnot because he's like any other villain. You can't have him win and eat the earth every few issues, so he does have to be beaten, I guess. But they've done so there was a run of Avengers where instead of being the Devourer, he was the Life Giver or something, and he had like a white costume and he was kind of creating planets, I think, instead or something. There was a run as well with Fantastic Four where they discovered his body buried under the earth on Earth for something. I don't know what that was all about. But yeah, I think he's a great character, and I think in this book he's very much used to one, pass on the power cosmic to Ghost Rider, but also to again demonstrate how powerful Thanos is becoming. And I've always read Thanos, Efren, going back to your point about how powerful he is, that the older he is, the more powerful he gets. So like each resurrection, as it were, or each year that passes, he's grown in whatever his power is, because we don't really understand what powers Thanos really, do we? So that's why so far in the future he is this unstoppable kind of machine, I guess.
let's not forget, in the early days, he just used to get arrested by the police and taken out of
Yeah,
his
the Thanos
Thanos helicopter. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanos copter.
yeah, he's certainly
Same in the Loki
evolved.
TV show.
Yeah.
Getting back to the two Thanoses, they have this really good bit where they're talking, and old Thanos takes young Thanos, that's a lot of Thanos, to another character, and it is the Hulk. And we find him caged up, amassed lots of bones, and you really feel for him in this
The dog.
issue. Yeah, the dog. Yeah. What do you think the Hulk turning up, Luke?
I loved it. Obviously, this could go with this amount of time passing. It could go one of two ways. We could either see the Hulk being, kept as a pet to King Thanos, or we would see him as Maestro, right? Like, there's one of two things that this could have been. Maestro would have been just as bad as Thanos, I think, if he was around. He's a bit of a nasty piece of work. But no, it was interesting seeing the Hulk, because it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it's super hard to kill the Hulk. Even if you threw him into the sun, he would just get angry. He would just survive there somehow. The more pain and the anger that he feels, the stronger he gets. So how do you kill the Hulk? Keeping him
Wasn't there a comic run where Hulk was the last human left alive?
Yeah. That was a whole run that Marvel did a few years back called Marvel. Marvel at the End or something, I think it was, because they did the Hulk the end, Punisher the end, X-Men the end.
Yeah,
and it's a stunning story, and it's basically the Hulk on Earth just surrounded by, I think it's like bugs and things that keep
bugs, that's
generating and stuff. Yeah, it's a great story.
So it makes sense for him to be there with Thanos.
I kind of read it that it kind of ties into the storyline of the Immortal Hulk at the time, doesn't it?
The Immortal Hulk done a very similar thing, yeah.
Right. Then we get another character turning up right near the end of that issue, and it's Silver Surfer, or the Fallen One.
Yeah, love it.
And he's coming to face off with Thanos. That was really good how he turned up, by the way. I really enjoyed that. Efren, what do you think of old SS turning up there?
I liked when he showed up. You think, and how he became worthy of holding, Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
I don't like what happened to him. I thought, can I talk about it now, or should we just wait?
Yeah, you go ahead and talk about
this it. This is when I started not really liking this storyline, because they basically sucker punched Silver Surfer, stabbed him in the back along with Hulk at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to see a drag out fight between the both of them. Really gruesome fight. But they took that. That's one of the reasons I started not liking this storyline so much. I went, wait, what? And the way the Hulk died, he died as Bruce Banner, but the Hulk doesn't die. I mean, does he come back? I thought he would.
I didn't get that bit either.
So in theory, he would come back, but obviously it was Silver Surfer, reaching out to him that made him calm and revert back to Bruce. It's difficult. You've got two sets of writers. You've got the Immortal Hulk story going on at the same time as this, and it's hard to know where you stand with the whole. Is the Hulk immortal, or can he still die as Banner?
And don't forget, it's Surtur's sword they're using, so it's the Twilight Sword.
Oh yes,
which is kind of in mythology and stuff like that. That's the sword that brings the end to Asgard and the gods. So I don't know if that's got some kind of special properties that stop them resurrecting or whatever.
Yeah, I was really hyped when they showed Silver Surfer, and then the next book was. I thought, okay, here we go. It's going to be a big fight. I'm like, damn it, I don't like this book.
I mean, I agree with you, Efren, in some regards. I think some of the, like I said at the start, there are some battles and some fights and stuff that it feels like they've had a whole list of cool ideas that want to get pushed into these issues, and if they'd had a longer run, you would have gotten them fleshed out a little bit more. But as it is, I think it was a nice little snapshot. I mean, there's a scene, I don't know if you want to mention it later on, Pete, there's a scene that I just love, which is Thanos versus the Celestials, and how he dispatches the Celestials with Black Bolt and sticking a knife in his gut.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's amazing. It's a great idea, to make.
Because they did do these brilliant splash pages in some of the issues, explaining everything, how Thanos basically destroyed everybody.
Yeah. So a lot of these splash pages were actually the variant covers. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of
Right,
great
right.
covers for these books.
Yeah.
Just touching upon what Ephraim was saying and what Peter was agreeing with, I was okay with how quick he was dispatched. I mean, I was reading these one issue at a time when they first came out, and I'll tell you what, that Fallen one first arriving and declaring that he was, it took him so long because he was becoming worthy. What a cliffhanger! Like, that just blew my mind, and I was so excited for the next book. And then literally to have Thanos literally declaring, "I'm going to kill you with that hammer," and he does. Again, I was okay with the pacing of it. Like, I sometimes these battles can be too dragged out. And again, I don't know if we're ready to go there yet, but the Silver Surfer just immediately taking out Cosmic Ghost Rider with that uppercut was so good.
He was pretty much short-lived, was Frank, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I loved it, And again, it's fast-paced action, but it is short because obviously it's all got to fit into one book to tell this limited story. So again, I could see both sides of it. I could see why you might want a longer fight, but I feel like you would lose a whole issue to that fight if you done it that way.
I was going to say, not to be pedantic, but I've just counted the pages, and it's actually it's the entire issue apart from one last page. So it is a full issue's worth of battle, I guess. So
my takeaway on the Silver Surfer fight was how would Thanos win a worthy Silver Surfer head on? So he would have had to basically stab him in the back by some means.
So I'm trying to work out, because my my continuity might be off. Is the Silver Surfer the Fallen one because of the events of Silver Surfer Black, where he came into contact with Null? Or because that's when he started changing color, right? Or was that something else?
That's how I read it. I didn't read that Silver Surfer run, but it's also by Donny Cates. So I just kind of assumed that was some kind of spillover from that series.
He's been the Fallen one, or he's been that darker shade in color since that event. And I'm not sure if that was the actual time when it happened. I always assumed it was.
I didn't read the Silver Surfer series. I don't know if it was any good or not.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't read it either. So when the Silver Surfer turned up being worthy, I thought just events happened.
Yeah.
He fell out with Galactus, lost his cosmic power, and after Thor died, he's went after that.
This is what I like as well. Thanos saying, "Why did it take so long for you to come here?" And him saying, "Because I was working on being worthy."
Yeah.
The Silver Surfer needs to work on that, much like Frank Castle.
Yeah,
Silver Surfer has brought Galactus to these planets to devour and to eat. He's got a lot to atone for. So for him to be worthy, now you could argue, well, Thanos has won. There's no one left in the universe. Maybe it's a little easier to be worthy now. Maybe if it's juggling, rolling the dice between the living, maybe it's a bit easier. But as far as cliffhangers go, I wish I could go back and read that again for the first time, because obviously once you know it, you know it.
Yeah. So after that fight, old Thanos explains why he brought young Thanos here, really, to make sure everybody is dead, so he can finally get married to Death. And Death turns up in a wedding dress. I think that was at the end of that issue.
Hang on, just before we get there, can we also mention why he keeps Cosmic Ghost Rider around? He does it because he wants him to get the penance there. Because he wants to relive all of that misery, and he thrives on it. He loves it.
He does. That was actually quite a good bit. I like that. Yeah. It was explain why he kept him around.
Or when he says like Frank Castle at your service, he's like, I have no idea who that is.
Yeah.
Probably faced him a couple of times and he still doesn't know who he is. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so Death turns up and young Thanos actually clicks that he's there to kill all Thanos because he is the last person alive. So he obviously wants himself to do it. So committing suicide, really.
Yeah.
But this is the reason. Like he wouldn't allow Galactus to do it or Cosmic Ghost Rider to do it. It has to be himself, because on some weird sadistic level, he has to be the last person standing. So getting an older version of himself brought forward to do it means that he still wins. I know. We'll get onto the subject of the title of the book later, but for argument's sake, Thanos wants to be the last one standing.
Yeah. But I like that when they're doing the back and forth and have Death stood there and she's giving these little expressions on her face.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Efren, what did you think about Death turning up in the end there?
I thought, well, she had to turn up, and I thought, oh wow, man, she looks pretty hot for Death.
No skull face, right?
Yeah.
So
I thought it was a good point. It made Thanos, God, just think that he goes into the future and then he, meets up with that old Thanos, and then they argue, they fight, and then he goes, Death shows up, but something's not quite right. So, I mean, he has to go back to his own timeline to kill his future self, basically to snap him out of existence. I was like, doesn't that kill him? I got confused after a while trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen. And I don't think Thanos, they didn't continue this storyline. I don't think Thanos ends up being satisfied. I think something happens with Death. I think Death screws him over.
Yeah.
That's my thought of how it would happen afterwards.
I think she pretty much always does, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure is true.
Speaking of skulls and faces and stuff with obviously Death, can we also point out that the fact that Frank Castle with the skull on his chest literally becomes a skull is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
It's a great visual.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So basically, I think this is the best way. Young Thanos, is just like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's like, why?
Well, because he does that, doesn't he? Because the way I read it is both characters, the same person, but old and young characters have got this thing in their head where they have to win. They have to be the last man standing. They have to be the winner. When young Thanos realizes that old Thanos wants to die, if he was to kill him, that would be old Thanos winning, regardless of him standing over. So he decides, actually, do you know what? Screw you. I'm not doing that because I need to win. So his version of winning is basically sticking his fingers up, going back in time and changing something so that he never becomes reality anyway.
He literally says that I'm going to make sure that none of this stuff happens and that I don't become you and therefore you won't exist.
Yeah.
Will be something else.
Because old Thanos was like, this is what you've got coming.
But again, going back to when this came out with the MCU, you fast forward this being just before or just after Infinity War, where Thanos wins, to then going into Endgame after this, where it is an older Thanos that has come to the future, one that didn't sacrifice anyone to get the stones or do anything, who they then end up fighting at the end, is a totally different Thanos. It's a younger Thanos from the future. So again, I feel like a lot of it was put into this comic by the execs above, just to get people into that mindset and into that idea for how the movies were going to roll on and carry on.
Mm-hmm. What was your takeaway from it, Efren?
Takeaway from Thanos, the young Thanos?
Young Thanos telling old Thanos, no, I'm not going to do it.
Well,
I'm not going to kill you.
The young Thanos doesn't know how he became the old Thanos. So if he goes back in time and tries to make changes, who says those changes aren't the ones that made him into the Thanos that he is in the future?
Exactly.
So I'm not sure how he accomplished that. So that was like, wait a minute, how can he know? Maybe him doing a 180 on his life is what made him into the character in the future. So he's
time travel. Love it.
Right? It's like, oh my God, this is
right up Luke's alley.
I love time travel. Any comic book in movies, time travel, stuff like that. I love it, but man, it opens up a Pandora's box.
My favorite type of trend. Sorry, carry on.
What you need, Efren, is one of Luke's whiteboard stories.
I was just going to say this should have been a whiteboard moment all day long.
One of my favorite time travel concepts is whatever happened, which means that if you go back in time and you do something, that was always the case. You were always going back in time and always doing it. And I love that concept so much more than creating a new universe, because obviously if you change something, there would be two separate universes. And even Back to the Future does that, because when he comes back home, it's not the same universe that he left. I like it when they're going back to stop something, not realizing they were the cause of the thing happening to begin with.
Luke, do you know how many whiteboard episodes you can do?
I love it.
We haven't had a Back to the Future one off you yet.
No, not yet. It's all
Not
in
yet.
the works.
Oh no, I'm actually looking forward to it. Well, we're near the end of the comic now, and Thanos is asking Death, "What more can I do for you? How's this me winning?" And she's like, "No, he won."
Yeah.
That was just like a bit of a weird ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought. I mean, I've read a bit of Thanos's kind of stories in the past, not the ongoing series, but there's always this kind of play between him and Death, isn't there? She's basically a massive something tease. You know what I mean? She's just constantly egging him on, but he never gets what he wants.
Yeah.
And I just read it like that again. Do you know what I mean? That kind of, and I thought the artist did a real good job on a kind of almost childlike piss-taking face. Do you know what I mean? She was like almost sticking her tongue out at ha. You know, you've done it again. You've still not got us. So yeah, I enjoyed that interaction between the pair of them.
What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, like Peter says, she is a bit of a tease, but she's always been that way. That's always been the thing with Thanos. You know, even in the original Infinity Saga storyline in the comics, which again most people forget that snap was like just one single panel. Like it was nothing in comics, and they made an entire franchise out of it for the movies. But it's just he's just trying so hard to win her over. You know, and like he says, you know, he's the last one standing on that planet where we leave him after his past self leaves. And she's still not going to take him because he's blinked out of existence. So there's that great scene. I think you're right, Luke. I'm just remembering there's that great scene in Infinity Gauntlet in the comic when he does the snap and obliterates half the universe, and he turns to her, and I'm sure she turns her back on him. Yeah. And he's like, still you're not happy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's right.
Yeah. And people forget as well, it's Mephisto, like egging him on. Like all the way through.
Always Mephisto, isn't it? Yeah. What was your take on it from Def's last words?
Speaking really quick of Mephisto, so he's the only person left in all of universe, but Mephisto and in hell, they're still around, right? He's never taken out Mephisto.
No, I got the impression that they had gone. So at one point, it says when Frank Castle's kind of roaming the earth as Ghost Rider, he says even Mephisto's voice stopped speaking to him. So I read it. That's either Mephisto's got bored and moved on, or Mephisto's died as well.
Yeah. I think Thanos at the end, there's two options for him. One, that he would just go bat crazy and just be loony, and the other one is he would kill himself because he's saying, you know, maybe when I die, that's when Death and I will be together. When he's dead, also, you know. But I think he's just to be an entity, just wanting to be the last person alive anywhere, man. God, you remember that story where Ghost Rider went back to the past and he had basically adopted baby Thanos?
Yeah, so that comes after this. That's the follow on after
okay. I read that and I'm just like, fucking kill him. What are you doing, man?
He has a little Punisher t-shirt on and everything.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's the baby Hitler thing all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you could go back in time, would you?
Yeah.
Right,
but that's what I think. That's what I think is so great about this story arc, this series, is that it's all self-contained, like me and Peter said from the beginning. It's a great story, and at the end of it, everything is undone anyway, so none of it happened.
Yeah.
And it is just a great what-if story.
Yeah.
I want to pick up on this great little bit that's in it, and it's a bit of a Thanos backstory when he was a baby, and his mum had just given birth, and she looked into his eyes and turned mad. I thought that was really well done in this comic.
Thanos is a deviant, right? So you've got the Eternals, you've got deviants, and so that's why he is as powerful as he is and as old as he is. But I remember reading I can't remember how far back it was. It might be like 2014, 2015. But they done the Thanos Rising, which was all about him as a child and him growing up and his life on Titan and stuff like that. That was a good read too.
That's superb. Is that the one? I was just trying to look there, look when you were talking, because I remember reading a mini series. I think it's in this format as well. It's probably Rising, and it shows you him as a kid. Does he discover an alien and he's dissecting the alien?
He's dissecting it, yeah.
It's very, very good. Very dark.
And then that led on to the Galactus story, The Hunger. Like they all still tie in somehow. They're all still there. It's good fun.
Do they ever mention who Thanos' father is?
Eros.
Eros.
That's right. Yes, he was an Eternal Eros. Yeah. Can't remember his mum's name.
But the story arc before this, because obviously this is up to starts at 13, doesn't it? So from 1 to 12, from 1 to 12, you get to see Thanos' son and stuff like that as well. Which again, that was all great storytelling. Thanos Wins is the better half, in my opinion, but it was still a great story. If you can read all of it from issue 1 to 18, you get a much better understanding of the character.
Yeah, I might have to go back and read them.
Very good.
Favorite issues, Pete. Favorite issue or favorite bit of the book?
Oh, I don't know about issue. There's so many. I mean, I enjoy them all, but I think for me, the kind of the final issue. I think I'm just flicking through it. Probably the final issue where you've got the battle and things like that between Thanos and Thanos, and you kind of get it ending up. I like that. I think there's some great action scenes in that.
Absolutely. Efren, you got a favorite issue?
Like I said, I'd never read this series before. So my favorite issue, I forgot what issue number it was, but it was the introduction of Cosmic Ghost Rider. When he lassoed basically Thanos and he just dragged him to the future. I thought that was hilarious. And that was like my favorite issue. I was like, all right, it's my least favorite is what happened to Silver Surfer. You're not asking for that. The way he got killed, I went, oh my God, come on. Do something better than that. Him and Hulk at once. It's like, come on. I didn't like that at all.
It's 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
Luke, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I don't remember what issue number it is, but my favorite moment is definitely the Silver Surfer turning up, declaring that he was waiting to become worthy. So whatever issue that is, that was the one where I was like, yes, I am all in. Let's go. Like, this is a great story.
Very good. I just want to say with the writing as well, before we move on any further, I'm not a big fan of over narration. That was one of the downsides of this book for me. I know Scott Snyder does it a lot. I haven't read a whole ton of Donny Cates, but I wasn't a big fan of that. Just let the characters do the talk and then let the story progress like that.
Yeah,
I don't need to be pushed through the story. Any down points for you, Pete?
I mean, I'm probably the opposite to you, Pete. I enjoy that narration. Right. And when I go back and look through it, the first few pages are literally kind of Donny Cates talking about how, if you ask any hero what the end will be, they all say the same thing, Thanos. And I like that storytelling to a point. If I was to go to say some of the new X-Men comic books where you've got 2 pages of story and then a page of just text, that does my nuts in. I can't cope with that.
Yeah.
But I quite like this. Downside for me, it's maybe a bit too short. I would have liked maybe a couple more issues to flesh out some of those big battles. Right. I'm a sucker for seeing. Sounds terrible. I'm a sucker for seeing people die. So that's why I like What If. I like to see creative ways that these heroes die and stuff like that. There's a comment where it says, you should have seen the Hulk when we fed him Rogers. I want to see what that was all about.
I want to see that as well. Yeah.
So I guess the downside for me is I would like to have seen some of this story fleshed out. Now I don't know if they've gone back and done that. I don't know if they've gone back and told more because I haven't picked up
idea.
But I wanted to see some of those big battles and stuff. And like you, I wanted to see a story with Cosmic Ghost Rider and Galactus running around the galaxy, So that's probably my only downside. I love the art and I love the writing. I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was over the moon when Silver Surfer got killed.
Efren, bad points.
I think the hype was too much for me that I knew beforehand. I was expecting more from the book, and that's one of the reasons it disappointed me. I don't know. Just Thanos wins. What did he win? You know, to me, he didn't win anything. You know, he still didn't have death at his side. So I don't think
Thanos is well known for always beating himself. You know, one of the things with Thanos is always been his intellect and him realizing when he might be beat by someone else and how he can avoid that by still coming out on top and how he can still win. You know, and much like Death says at the end, he won because he's not followed through. He's not going to become you, and he's not going to die this miserable. You know, and that's what I think the title of the story is actually based upon.
God, I wish I could remember my old brain. There's a great story with an interaction. I think it might even be Adam Warlock talking to Thanos, where he says exactly what you just said, Luke. And he basically says, you know, how many times have you held the cosmic cube, the infinity gems, the power cosmic, this, and every single time, you know, you do something to balls it up. Which is really interesting that he's almost self-defeating himself every time, you know.
Speaking of Adam Warlock, the way he just throws that to one side, he's like, oh yeah, there was this guy once. What I don't remember his name. It's like, wow, Donny Cates is literally just pooping on all that came before.
No, you haven't missed any jingle song yet, Sif. There's plenty of time for that. Thanks for joining anyway, mate. Luke, down points for you, mate.
I don't think there are any. I love how concise and tight this story is, and you know, I understand what you guys are saying, that you would want to see more, but they would be through the eyes of other characters, whereas we're going on this journey with Thanos, and we're seeing things from his point of view, and I don't think it's needed. I get what you guys are saying. Let's go back and revisit and see some of those other things in another title. And like we've already touched upon, they did that with the Cosmic Ghost Rider stuff, or they've done some of that. I'm just curious to see if it is still going to work out. Like what Efren said, is it still going to evolve and go that way? Will this still come to pass later down the line? That remains to be seen. I'm still following Donny Cates' Thor run, which isn't currently being written by him, but they're still following that same story. And we've had the Black Winter and everything else in that. So, no, as a whole, I'm just very happy with these issues. It's a very tight-fitting, wonderful story.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so if you're going to pick this up, I think it's a great standalone comic to get you into Thanos and his little world. It's definitely got the readability. I can see myself going back, picking this up and reading it again at some point. And the artwork's great. Absolutely thought they smashed it out of the park with the artwork and the colouring. So I'm going to give this a score out of 7. Pete?
What did I give? I gave Punisher a 10, didn't I?
You did, mate, yeah.
Christ, that was
generous.
That was very generous.
I
where are you
give
going with this one?
I prefer Punisher to this, I have to say. Although I do love this. Wow. I'm going to go 9. I think this is a really good story. And you didn't touch on just some of the pages. I mean, this one here of him literally caving Silver Surfer's head in on Thor's hammer.
Don't show Efren.
It's just genius. Do you know what I mean? Because we always get stories about, must pick up Thor's hammer. No, it's on the ground there. Smash something in it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I just think, I love it. So yeah, it's a 9 for me, Pete.
Pete, I'm low tech. I don't want to have slides. I'm a basic bitch. Luke, what's your score, mate?
This was a 10 out of 10 for me. I was entertained every single issue that I picked up. Like I said, I was getting them as they came out. I loved it so much so that not only do I have the individual issues, I have every single variant, every single print that they've done with a different cover, and I also bought the hardback book. This was a great piece of storytelling.
Yeah, Efren.
I gave it a 5 out of 10. It was a story that I just didn't do much for me, you know.
Didn't float your boat.
I think the problem with characters like this, and they've mentioned this about Superman also, when you're so powerful, it's hard to write for, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. There were parts that I enjoyed. I liked when Silver Surfer showed up. I liked it when the Hulk showed up, and you know, Frank Castle. But overall, I just thought it was just a regular, you know, comic book run. Luke put it exactly. This should have been a what if series. You know, it still probably wouldn't have changed the storyline, but I just found that it was a good read. You know, it wasn't like, to me, it doesn't get anywhere near as close as even Peter said, as the Punisher series that's going on right now. So
yeah. So one of our members isn't here tonight, and that's James from Comic Daily. He's got the Rona. Hope you get well soon, mate. But he did send in his score and his thoughts on it. So James scored it 9 out of 10.
Good.
And his highlight being Cosmic Ghost Rider. That's his highlight. And his low point is, like a lot of Kate's runs, at times it's very exposition heavy. Absolutely agree with that, mate. So that's the score. So that total score comes to 40.
I do think its biggest strength is how short it is, because you can enjoy something like this Punisher run, for example. But if you don't know where it's going to finish, I don't know if the Punisher is already finished or not. But if you don't know where it's going to finish, there's still a lot of room for it to go downhill. Whereas because this is so short and concise, I think it gets a higher score for that reason alone.
I think there's no denying as well that Cates is killing it, isn't he? I mean, he's doing some incredible.
Well, he's disappeared, right? He's not, because like I said, he's not on Thor anymore. It's still his story. They're still going where he was going. But there's been a lot of like guest spot writers. He's not.
What's he
he's
doing
not around.
I don't know what books he's
I'm not sure what he's doing.
He got taken off of Hulk, and he's not on Thor. So I don't know where he's gone.
Did Cates do the spaceship Hulk?
Yeah.
Oh, I forget what I said. Yeah. No. Maybe that's why. Maybe. Oh no, hang on. I've got a feeling I was. Did you say my brain's crap? I've got a feeling I was criticizing Cates' writing on Spaceship Hulk on one of our Saturday live shows, and someone in the comments said, "Oh, well, actually, you do know that he's going through some stuff at the moment." And I can't remember what it was.
Do you think he's writing suffered as a?
I think he's got some personal stuff going on at the moment, so maybe he's
either way, I just don't think Hulk was the right fit for him. Because he's done, like I say, he done Guardians. Did he do Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm sure he done one of the runs for Guardians. He done. I think it was a while back,
but the Guardians.
Yeah, because I think Thanos appeared in a big portal and like sucked everyone up, and Silver Surfer, and then that led on to the Silver Surfer Black story.
Yeah,
I think that's where it kind of splintered off. But he's done Silver Surfer, he's done Thanos Wins, he's been doing Thor. These have all been fantastic in my opinion. But the Hulk one, I read the first issue and that I was done.
I was confused. That's what to this day that book confuses me. I haven't read it. I have no idea what's going on.
It was big boots to fill as well because Immortal Hulk was so good.
Very good.
Yeah, I haven't read it. I will give an honorable mention though.
Not read any Immortal Hulk, Pete?
I haven't. No.
Get on it.
I mean, again, a bit like Efren says, mind. I would say that Immortal Hulk deals with such overarching kind of big concepts and stuff like that. It's easy to get confused a little bit. So I got a bit lost off by the end as to who was what and all the rest of it. But yeah, it's a worth read. There's some great bits in it. There you go. It's Connie. Connie's mentioned it. Yeah. I'm sure that's what I read, Connie, or someone mentioned that there was some personal issues going on at the moment.
Right. I'm going to give an honourable mention to the annual that comes up straight after this run, which I thought was really fantastic. And it's narrated by Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So
there's a really funny. I don't know if everyone's read it. I know Luke will have read it. But there's a really funny story of me where it's basically Thanos turning up at some guy's birthday every year just to piss him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and just things like busts his pipes and things, and it's just great. Yeah,
it is. It's crazy and it's great.
But it also there's another story. There's another story in that which shows, I think, the just how awful Thanos is, where I can't remember what he does, but does he stop someone from crossing the road or something? He does something nice for someone. You think he's done something nice.
Yes.
And then by the end of it, he basically, this lady's on a deathbed, and he shows that if I hadn't interjected, you would have discovered the cure for cancer. You would have saved millions. But I stopped you from doing that. So ha ha ha. And she dies. And it's like, freaking hell. You know?
And there was another one where he went to a planet, killed the god of this planet, so no one could get reincarnated again.
Jeez.
Just to see how they would react. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
That's Jesus, pure evil, no redeeming qualities.
No redeeming qualities at all. We're going to spin the wheel, see what we're going to be reading next.
Oh. What's on the wheel?
What's on the wheel is Deceased. That was Simon's pick when he decided to turn up.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Volume 1, which is Efren's pick.
Good.
We've got Nocterra, Volume 1, which is my pick. Crimson Cage for James. And Immortal Hulk, Volume 1 for Luke. This is runner-up pick because Peter stole it.
Very good.
So this is how low tech I am.
I can't see names. I can just see colours.
That's all right. We'll pop up big there somewhere.
Immortal Hulk.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Immortal Hulk. Volume 1.
I'll come back for the next one then.
Very good. Yeah.
Luke, you cost me money.
How far are we going with Immortal Hulk? Because like some people, for example, only read them till issue 24, and then they decided to stop because they felt like that was a good end, and then you could carry on for the other because it goes on to issue 50. So how many issues are you wanting to review?
Probably one of the first trade paperback, I would have thought. The first 4 or 5
I think we'll just keep it trade by trade, just to keep the show about an hour.
To do like the first 6 issues.
Yeah. I'll say what's in the trade because the annual doesn't come till later anyway.
You can get, I mean, the way I've collected Immortal Hulk is in, like they've done 3 omnibuses, I think, and the omnibuses are actually pretty cheap. I think they're only about 15-20 quid each.
Yeah, I've had a look on the first one on Amazon. I think you get it for about 24 quid.
Yeah, I bought it all in singles, so I would just need to know where I need to stop talking.
Yeah, so I would have thought it would be up to issue 6.
Yeah.
Pete, what's coming up on the channel, mate?
Next Monday we have got our Geek Art Attack. So we're going to be doing computer game, video game related characters. So we've got that going on. Looking forward to that. So that should be fun. On the channel, we've got some action figure unboxings this week. I think it's 1/6 scale Kick-Ass and some comic book related stuff. I've just picked up a few mystery boxes, and I've just picked up a massive box that's just arrived from America. So looking forward to getting to that, which is a set of books that I've been wanting for a while. And I've also got on the way a pretty pricey signed book that I felt I had to buy before someone dies.
I've been there.
Efren, what's coming up on your channel?
Right now, my latest video, I'm doing a giveaway, and anybody that wants to enter, please do my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I have it. I think I posted it yesterday. I might have it open for 2 or 3 more weeks. All you got to do is leave a comment. Actually, anybody can enter. I'll send it to you guys. A friend of Peter's, just a little side note, Peter sent me a message while I was in Vegas Con that his friend was looking for a comic book, and I happened to find that comic book just totally by accident. So I sent it to him, and he lives in the UK. So I know how to ship now to the UK when you guys win. It wasn't that hard to do. It just gave me the address. I go, this is pretty easy. For some reason, I thought it'd be a lot more difficult. You know, so this book is going to go to somebody, and all you have to do is leave a comment on that video. You can just say hi, and you're in the running.
It's a big book as well, Efren, isn't it?
Would you believe I don't actually have a copy of that book, because the one copy that I do have, I got it signed and then remarked on. So I don't have that book.
Listen to him, man.
Luke, I'm going to leave.
It's random, Luke, man. It's random. It doesn't
matter.
It's going to
be random. Yep, random. Besides that, I'm always posting on Instagram. I posted yesterday that a Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, is about 70 days away. So I'm going to be doing videos on YouTube and Instagram, posting reels about the comic book convention coming up. So that's it.
Luke, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I finally got out a video that I've been waiting to get out for a long time. I've been under the weather for like 3 weeks now. Finally got it edited, put out there. It's a video that I've done with Peter, Triple G Comics, and Suddenly Comics, where we talk about Alan Class books, which are kind of the hidden gem of the UK. This is part of the Making Sense of Pence series that me and Peter do. And yeah, there's a lot to learn. So go over and check out that video. I think you'll be entertained.
I watched it. It's an excellent video. It's like one of my favorite videos I've watched so far this year, Luke. I must say, you guys did a good job, man. I hope more people would just watch it. I love history of comic books. And this is something I was clueless about. And you guys did a really good job. You know, I can't give you enough props. I'm going to keep on talking about it, but it was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody's description is links are going to be in the description, so check them out after this ends. I think I've already put them in. I think what's coming up on the GP channel is I've got a haul. I've got a haul. It's been the first one since February, so I just got to do the video for that. But that's all I've got coming out this week. We'll work out a date for when we do Immortal Hulk. Try and get everybody on. Apparently we're getting some Ginger Kong action figure Kung Fu grip. Cheers, sir. Don't forget to go check out Spine Ticks on Saturday night. I'll have to do a new clip for you. Killer Comics tomorrow. Grey Man on Saturday. No Saturday Night Live this week, Pete?
I'm not sure yet. I originally said that we weren't going to do it every Saturday, remember?
Yeah.
And then we've done it every Saturday.
So
I'm not sure. I'll see how I'm feeling. I mean, that's probably a yes. You know what I'm like. It'll be a yes.
I know what you're like.
I looked up Immortal Hulk Volume 1. It says it goes through issues 1 through 5 and material from Avengers number 684.
Yeah. Efren, I'm confident you're going to love Immortal Hulk because on the first 2 pages he kills Silver Surfer. So that'll be like.
I've read Immortal Hulk. I quite enjoyed it. And one of the good things about doing this series is, you know, rereading stories that usually when I read a book, it's just one and done. I never read it again. And, you know, going back like we did with the Punisher, I reread them. I go, that's a good storyline. So I'm looking forward to rereading the Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yep.
That's it for us tonight. Pete, since this was your book, do you want to snap us out, mate?
Snap out. Ow. Have we gone?
No, because the lag's terrible.
Oh.